It is Rob Thompson live interview with influencers. We have Murray Cohn, president of MC Sports Sales Extravaganza. Right? I threw in the extravaganza. It sounded good.
I appreciate the extravaganza. Great stuff.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, Rob.
So just let's jump right into it. I mean, with my audience and my community, there's a lot of young professionals, a lot of executives in the industry, and the one thing I think that's a common denominator for all of us is being interested in how we got into the industry and where we are today. But it's really our journey, and I know all of us kind of take different journeys, and sometimes we feel like we're going to go down one road and another door is open. So why don't you take it all the way back? Where are you from?
I'm originally from the great city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Nice. And college, was this something that you went to Robert Morris University? And
it was actually yes, it was actually Robert Morris College at the time.
Yeah.
Before it became big time and went to a university just outside Pittsburgh. And
Sure.
they're one of the few schools in the country that had a sports management program in the School of Business.
That's right. That was back in the mid '80s, right? Not to date yourself.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah, there's very few. And so, what was that first jump into the sports industry, and what was that aha moment for you?
The sort of the game-changing moment was growing up in Pittsburgh. I wanted to work in marketing for the Penguins, the Steelers, or the Pirates. A hometown kid wanted to work for one of those teams in the marketing area, and my college professor, the great Dr. Bill Sutton, pulled me aside and said, Murray, I have this internship opportunity for sales for an indoor soccer team. And I was like, no way. I'm not interested in sales.
Right.
I don't like soccer.
Right.
And he's like, do it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, go interview for it and do it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I went out there, I interviewed, I got the opportunity. And the first day of the job, the president of the team was a guy named Chris Wright, who was the president of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and now he's the CEO of Minnesota United. He asked me, Murray, what do you want to get out of this internship? I said, Chris, I want to do such a great job here that you offer me a full-time position. So sure enough, at the end of my junior year of college, I was offered a full-time position in sports, in sales, selling indoor soccer for the Pittsburgh Spirit indoor soccer team.
Unbelievable. It's amazing. Good thing you listened to Dr. Sutton, right?
Always listen to Dr. Sutton is definitely one of the rules that you should always apply and adhere to.
Right.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Yes.
No, go ahead, because I think the world of him as well. So what were you about to say?
And then it wasn't a matter of just getting that first opportunity. I worked full-time. I went to school full-time. And literally at the end of that next year, Chris pulled me into his office, said, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is the team is folding. The good news is you're the best hire I've ever made. And anywhere you have a job or anywhere he has a job, I would have a job as well. And literally 2 weeks later, he called me and said, Murray, I've got a new job. I can't tell you what city it is. I can't tell you what you're going to be paid. I want you to run my ticket sales department and come with me. Are you with me? Wow. And sure enough, I was like, yeah. So I was a director of ticket sales before my 21st birthday, which is just insane. Before I had a college degree, before my 21st birthday, Chris had enough faith in me to take me to Minnesota to run his indoor soccer team.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And then where did you go from there?
Yeah, I spent years in indoor soccer, working for the team in Pittsburgh, working for the team in Minnesota, then going out to Tacoma, Washington, working for the team out there. I joined the Seattle Mariners as one of the top sellers in Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. Then I went back to Minnesota and ran the sales department for the Minnesota North Stars. I was actually involved in moving the team to Dallas and setting up the organization there. I spent some time with a sports marketing agency and then had an opportunity to do some consulting work back with the Sacramento Kings, which led to an opportunity to be invited to join the NBA Teambo Group as director of group sales for the NBA.
That's where, so many of you guys came out of the Teambo organization.
Absolutely. And working with with Scott O'Neill and Bernie Mullen and Dr. Bill Sutton, Lou DePauli, and the amazing team we had there was just an incredible experience.
Yeah, it had to be. So, and you did quite a bit of time there as well, and in your Orlando Magic on top of that.
So yeah, I was with the NBA running group sales for the NBA, WNBA, and D League for 3 years. Then I missed the team opportunity, so I had the chance to come back, move to Orlando, and run their ticket sales department for the Orlando Magic. And very proud during the 3 years I was with the Magic, we had the biggest increase in paid attendance in the NBA and didn't win a single playoff game during that time. So we just hired great people. We developed a great culture. We trained them the right way. And then the league came back and said, Murray, we miss you. Will you come back? So I went back to the NBA for another 7+ years as the vice president of team ticket sales for the NBA, and working with Chris Granger and Amy Brooks and Brendan Donahue, and just an amazing experience. Again, not a better learning experience than going to a different team every week and
Right.
learning best practices and learning practices that you would not want to do as well. What a great education that was.
To talk a little bit about it, I know this is something that a lot of, especially sports management students and folks in the industry, because sales is such a uncomfortable thing for people to talk about, right? And no one
Absolutely.
wants it. They want to call themselves everything else but a sales professional.
Yeah.
And I talk about it all the time. The greatest experience that you could have is in sales, even though it might not be something that could be your career track later on, but it provides you with just a platform of really understanding the fan. So, and I know this is the business you've been in for a very long time. So talk about that. How important is the sales process and the sales piece of wanting to be in this industry?
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. It's critically important. If you can drive revenue, there's always a spot for you within an organization. But just understanding how it is to drive revenue. So the philosophy that I've always taken is I switch seats with the customer. I don't try to sell them a product that they don't want. I try to ask the right questions, understand their wants, needs, and desires, and then make the right recommendation with the right product, if it makes sense, that fits their needs. So by taking that approach, and selling something you're passionate about and something you believe in, makes all the difference in the world. So I was that guy in college that, no, I want to be in marketing. I want to be a creative guy, a branding guy. Like, didn't want to do sales whatsoever. And here I am 30 years later, leading my own sales company, have trained thousands of people in this business, and helped over 1,000 people get their first job in their career in the sports business as well. So those are a couple things that I'm really, really proud of.
What was that moment for you when you knew that this was it? This was something that you really love to do. And was it the thrill of the chase of closing deals, or was it the core of you're really helping people provide great experiences, whether it's them as a group or them with their families? What was that moment of the core piece of what you believe in sales?
Yeah, I think it encompasses all those different things. Being a former athlete, I'm competitive, and sales is a game where you can actually compete. So there's that aspect of it. But the true love is getting to know your customers and seeing the look on their face when they're doing something special with their son or daughter, or if they close a big deal at a game, but just not selling a product or a service, but really truly building relationships. And one of the coolest things is I was with the North Stars. 20 years later, I was at a Timberwolves game working with those guys in Minnesota, and I saw one of my old group leaders. And she came up, gave me a hug to work with. We had so many great times together with the North Stars. So just having those 20 years later to know the impact you can have being in this business, and the moments you can create that are very special in people's lives. So yeah, it's a combination of all those different things that makes selling very special.
Recommend now, as far as when you talk to these entry level sports management students or somebody kind of repivoting their careers and getting back into it, what are the skill sets that you see currently in 2018 that the teams are really looking for?
That's a great question. So, first of all, I wouldn't be where I am today without Dr. Bill Sutton taking a chance on me and making a recommendation to me as a young student. So, I take a lot of pride in giving back and helping others do the same kind of thing. And there's five characteristics that we look for, that the majority of the teams in the industry are looking for these same five characteristics. So, when I'm speaking to college students or people looking to get into the business, here are the five different things. You've got to have a positive attitude. The sports business, we work long hours, long days. You've got to have a positive attitude, and you want to be around people you want to be around that are happy, positive people. You have to have a strong work ethic. A lot of people say they have a strong work ethic, but you can't just say it. You have to be able to back it up. One of the best hires I ever made was a woman who told me for fun, she likes to push mow. I was like, what is push mow? She goes, I work on a farm, and rather than drive the tractor, I like to get out and actually push the mower.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
the kind of person that, you want on your team that's not afraid to get out and push the mower. You got to have people that want to learn, that are coachable. And everyone says they're coachable, but a lot of people really aren't coachable. They want to do it their way. You want people that have honesty and integrity. There's no question about that. And the last one is the craziest one. We look for people that feel that good is the enemy of great. A lot of people are satisfied, hey, I work for the Miami Heat, or I work for the New York Jets, and ooh, I got a cool business card. But how many people truly want to be great in this business and will work and put in the extra effort to truly be great? So those are the five characteristics when I go out and look for people, that do they check those five boxes. We can teach people how to sell if they have the right characteristics and the right attitude.
Right. And what do you think as far as soft skills, besides attitude and their approach just in life in general? What are the soft skills that you think are very important? Besides graphic design, social media, social selling. What are some of the things that you see that are important right now?
Well, it's just how to deal with people. That's one thing that I've noticed with a lot of people, the younger generation, is they're not working with people as much. Everything is through a text. So that verbal communication, looking people in the eye, talking to people, building relationships, asking questions, and listening.
Hmm.
Those are a couple things that I'm not seeing as much of as we used to see in the older days.
And where do you see social media and digital reputation playing a role in what's happening now? I know there's folks out there that are prospecting just using LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram. What's your position on that?
It's funny. I'm an old school guy with a new school mentality.
Yeah.
So I believe that social media is an incredibly helpful tool to be able to cut through clutter and be able to start a conversation. But when a rep tells me they did their entire transaction back and forth through Twitter or through LinkedIn Messenger or something like that, that to me is a missed opportunity. So use
Right.
LinkedIn to make connection, open up a door, start a conversation. But there's no substitute for building a relationship, getting in front of someone,
Right.
and really making sure you're not leaving money on the table as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It definitely is a different getting past the gatekeeper is definitely social media and digital reputation is very important.
Absolutely.
Um,
And prospecting as well. Like, what a
yeah.
great opportunity. I used to go to the library and get the Dewey Decimal cards for different industries and check out books to look up clients or the yellow pages. It's a whole new world out there right now.
I know. I said, boy, you hate to be that old guy when you're talking to some of the young pros, but you can't help but saying, boy, if I only had LinkedIn and back in my day,
I
you know,
agree.
but
I
okay. I mean,
agree.
I think the hustle is still there. It's how we connect is just different, and it's not
Yes.
is it a little bit easier? I don't know. But also wasn't as cluttered. Actually pick up the phone and get a human being to answer the phone as well.
No,
You
no,
know,
you're
you,
absolutely right. I agree. I agree.
you know. So talk about your business. Talk about MC Sports Sales and how did you start it and what are you servicing now?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I started this 28 months ago. I left the NBA. I had a lot of people in other sports saying, "Hey Murray, I'm with an NHL team. Hey Murray, I'm with an NFL team. Hey Murray, I'm with, Feld Entertainment or the Globetrotters, and love for you to come in and do what you do for an NBA team with us." I'm like, "Well, I really can't do that in my current role." And now in the last little over 2 years, I've worked with over 75 different clients doing training at their location, working from everyone from minor league baseball teams and minor league hockey teams up to NFL teams and NBA teams, NHL teams, MLS teams, colleges and universities. And it's really energized me of working with so many different properties. And I've been doing this for a long time, but learning every single day and
Mm-hmm.
finding new things and creative things I haven't heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many teams do run around the bases,
Mm-hmm.
but the Washington Nationals for their seniors day do a senior stroll. I just think that's brilliant.
Brilliant.
I mean, just brilliant. Just like, okay, the seniors, like they take as much time as they need,
Right.
but to let the seniors go out there on a Wednesday day game
Right.
and walk the bases with their walkers, and they're
Right.
selling lots of tickets. So the
Yeah.
fact that, and one of my favorite weeks I had was I was in Orlando working with the Orlando Solar Bears, their
Yeah.
ECHL team.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was up at Madison Square Garden the rest of that week working with the Knicks, the Rangers, and Radio City Music Hall. So to be able to see the variety out there, it's been fantastic.
What are you seeing now in the marketplace as far as the difference in CRMs and, because I know there's so many different softwares out there.
Yeah.
And now that you're able to really spread your wings and go kind of cross sports, what differences are you seeing out there and what similarities?
Well, there's different platforms, obviously, and different products, but it's actually how you're using those tools to be more successful. Like, I love the campaigns that I'm seeing out there where you send an email out to 1,000 people, but you know that these 300 clicked on the email, so call those people first. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Or we're seeing that we have these season ticket holders who are really strong in these two sort of suburbs. Maybe we should focus more time and attention on those other suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
So just being a lot smarter is what I'm seeing. And then obviously you can spend a lot of money on CRM, but it's only good as the information you put in. Right. So really selling that back to the reps, why it's important to put detailed notes and communication. And also, I also love the idea of, not just tracking phone calls, but tracking all the different activities. So I sent this person a LinkedIn message. I sent this person a text. I called this person. I sent them a personal note. Being able to track all those different activities and see what's working has made teams and sellers so much more effective and efficient.
Are you seeing that as well? I mean, some of the more probably proactive organizations using data to really analyze what's working and what's not working?
Absolutely. And not only that is taking data to the next level. One of the things that I was very proud of what we were doing at the NBA is not just saying this person bought a ticket to this game, but how do we track that information? Like, okay, where do they park their car? What, if they bought a jersey, what jersey of that, what player, what food and concessions were they buying? So to be able to really get a 360 view of that fan is going to make us all better marketers if we can understand not just one action, but put it all together and using data to make that happen.
What are you seeing now, and what's the feedback you're getting from the teams on, the overconsumption of information, the attention? I guess it's probably a little bit more for the attention of that entertainment dollar. Are you finding that it's more watered down out there because there's so many options for families and hardcore fans, or do you think people still want that live experience and they're loyal to one or two sports, or maybe just one sport?
No, it's a great question. So I can speak to the time we had in the NBA. During the time I was there, we had record numbers of season ticket sales when a lot of people predicted that the season ticket product was going to go away. So to make sure that, and we really encourage the in-game experience, it's got to be great because It's a lot easier to sit home on your big screen TV and watch it there. So just making sure the in-game experience is still great is critically important. But I would say, Rob, that the biggest difference is the blurring of lines now between the primary and secondary market. So if you're looking to buy a ticket, used to, if you wanted to buy a Miami Heat ticket, you would contact the Miami Heat. Now there's probably 50 ways to buy a Miami Heat ticket. So I think that part of it is what's really interesting that I'm studying is how do we make sure that we're driving people directly to us to own and engage that customer versus all the different places where they can buy the same kind of tickets right now.
Got it. So what's next for you in this business? Are you going to focus in on just sales training, or do you see kind of expanding into other areas?
Well, it's been fun because a lot of teams will utilize what I do from a sales training standpoint, but I like to take it to the next level. So not only do I do the classroom and those type of things from a sales training standpoint, but a lot of teams will bring me in and actually go on client meetings with their reps. So that's something that's unique and different that a lot of other trainers don't do. I also am very involved with putting together the overall plan and strategy. So just, okay, here's where we're at. Here's where we want to go. What are the different tactics that we want to use? And then the funnest part is working in all these different leagues and all these different sports. And I've got clients now in every sport there is. How do we take these best practices and share them and duplicate and replicate them? So sharing those kinds of things, as well as the sales training, the strategy, and that also help teams on the recruiting side, because even though so many people want to work in sports, it's so hard to find great people these days. So those are the different areas I help with, and I'm really enjoying it. And the results from the teams and their feedback has been unbelievable.
Are you still based in Orlando?
Yeah, I live in Orlando, but Orlando's got a great airport, so I travel almost every week. And yeah, I'm constantly on the road working with a different team, league, or organization.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like not only have you had an unbelievable career working for the teams, working in the league side of it, your reputation precedes you of just being an outstanding person and a real gentleman. So I thank you for your time today. Is there anything else that you wanted to add? And how do people get a hold of you?
The easiest way to get a hold of me is through email, and my email address is murray@mcsportsales.com, and there's two S's back to back. Murray@mcsportsales.com. I'd love to be able to talk to people about how I can help them grow their business. And Rob, I really appreciate everything you do and taking the time to share some different thoughts and observations today. It's great working with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to do that. I always love connecting with great people in this business, in this industry, and we're all just trying to help. And I think we get to that point in our careers where we look at things a little bit differently. Then we're not chasing as much as we are. We're helping more than we're chasing.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's so fun now. So many of the teams I work with, I trained the person who's managing that sales department when they started in this business. Now they're running their own team, and there's definitely a pride factor of seeing those people when you knew them when and seeing them grow and develop. And it's definitely a very special feeling. I agree with you. Helping people is what it's all about.
I agree 100%. I just had an old intern. He just got a job over at USA Today Sports, and he just started last week. And he sent me a note, and one of those things that you're very proud of the guys out there and the women out there that have worked, with you side by side, and especially in their younger days, because someone helped us.
Absolutely.
Dr. Sutton was right there for you and pushed you out the door. Go sell tickets to indoor soccer.
Yes. You will love it.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. And everything just molds us, as we go. We don't expect things like this to happen all the time, but it just, if you do it with the right attitude, and like you said, you're positive and you build relationships with people along the way, that's, as that's 90% of it. And there's a lot of great things that could happen if you're willing to put in the effort. So
I agree.
Yeah. So it was great. It was great chatting with you. And next time I'm down in Orlando, I'll definitely let you know, and hopefully we could grab some coffee.
That sounds great, Rob. Look forward to it.
Murray Cohn, right here on Interview with Influencers. Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next time.